Speaking of limits, do you think that, I mean, given the international reaction and the sort of devastating impact of the sort of sanctions, particularly the central bank sanctions, and the coming together of the world, that in some ways that there is a danger, as he miscalculated, we may miscalculate in terms of response, that he has no off-ramp, so to speak. There is no exit route for him.
That's of course, there's always an exit route. And there's got to be a way by which he can de-escalate. But it's down to him. And what I don't think the West can do or any other countries can do is come in and say to the Ukrainians, look, you've got to accept this future for yourselves, you've got to accept some sort of partition, or you've got to accept some neutral status or something that they don't want. That's not for us to do. I think it's much simpler than that. What we have to do is look at the brute facts of the case, which are that a sovereign independent country has been invaded and is in the process of being mercilessly attacked. And although we can't come to the defense of Ukraine as though it was a member of NATO, what we can do is offer them help, support through defensive weaponry, and of course do everything we can to put economic pressure on the aggressor. And that's what we're doing.
What do you make of that young woman, Daria, when she was asking you about NATO actually grasping the nettle and realizing that we have to sort of commit, forces in order to stop him, because they can't?
And I sympathise so much with what she said, and in a way I was grateful that she was able to escalate that issue in the way that she did, because that is in many ways, for many people, that is the unspoken question. Why not just engage militarily? But that's not something that any NATO member is thinking of doing. And there's a reason for that, which is that in order to have a no-fly zone above Ukraine, in the current
be at war with
circumstances,
Russia.
you would have to take decisions to shoot down Russian jets, and that is not something that I can assure you that any Western country is contemplating. What we can do is stick up for the Ukrainians, support them in the ways that we are, offer humanitarian relief and assistance, offer to welcome them. Though don't forget, we also want to have a thriving and prosperous Ukraine after this. So we don't want to trigger a collapse and an exodus from Ukraine. But what we can do is just demonstrate to the international community and to Vladimir Putin and above all to the people of Russia that this has been a mistake.
You speak to Volodymyr Zelensky every day. The first time you spoke to him, I think he told you you may never see him again. What's his mood like?
He's an incredible guy, and he's got fantastic natural resilience, and he's a charming guy. I don't know if you've met him, but I'm lost in admiration of his ability to connect with people around the world, to set out the case for helping Ukraine. And I think that by his courage and his patent belief in his country and its right to self-defense, he is mobilizing the world. And I think, so I get back to this point, that I think that people who thought that they could sit this one out, who thought they could be apathetic, are becoming engaged and know that they have to respond.
What do you want wealthy Russian oligarchs who live in London to say about the situation? Some have. You've heard Yevgeny Ledbedev has made some statements, Mikhail Friedman has made some. We have a lot of wealthy Russian oligarchs in London who aren't saying anything.
I think that silence is inexplicable, and I think that people need to step up and denounce this act of aggression. And those oligarchs who have connections with the Putin regime and who are benefiting from their association with the Russian state, we are going to expose and distrain their assets.
Finally, one of the things that you have done, along with the American governments, is to say things that you know that Vladimir Putin is planning before he actually does it, and that's been quite effective. What do you think he's going to do now?
I think that you put your finger on the problem a moment or two ago. I think that he's gone into a cul-de-sac, and it's very, very difficult for him to back out. And that's the problem we've got. And if you're sitting where he is, his only instinct is going to be to double down and to try to Grozny-fy Kyiv, if you know what I mean, and
to just reduce it to rubble.
To reduce it to, and I think that would, of course, I think that would be an unutterable moral humanitarian catastrophe. And I hope he doesn't do that. I hope he has the wisdom to see that there must be a better way forward. But what he's got to do is disengage and with a column of tanks 40 kilometers long going towards Kiev, he needs to put those tanks into reverse or turn them round. And that is the number one thing.